Like and subscribe right now, or you're going to have bad luck for the rest of the week. Are you afraid of deep water? At times, it's not actually the deepness alone that frightens people. It's what may be lurking far down in the water that does. While there are some fascinating, beautiful, and even mysterious structures and objects that divers love to seek out and explore, always be careful, because the dangerous and terrifying also abound. We've taken the plunge to check out 10 of the most terrifying things for you, so that you don't have to. 10 most terrifying objects found underwater. Number 10. Baltic UFO. Off the coast of Sweden in the Baltic Sea lays a 55 meters or 180-foot formation that looks like a UFO. It even looks like there's a crash landing trail leading up to the formation. In 2011, a deep-sea exploration team called Ocean X came across the unusual object 300 feet below the surface. They reported malfunctions in their electrical equipment whenever they came within 61 meters or 200 feet of it. Speculation about what this object is has ranged all the way from a natural formation formed by ice flows when the Baltic Sea was forming, to a UFO, to even a Nazi structure. It certainly does appear to be human-made, with what looks like a staircase leading up the side of it. However, the structure came back as ordinary gneiss and granite. After that, the theory that it was possibly a UFO was debunked. Regardless, seeing something that looks like a UFO in the ocean would definitely be scary. Number 9. Ghost Fleet of CHOOK Lagoon. Also known as Truck Lagoon up until the 1990s, this World War II graveyard is full of Japanese military equipment and vessels from the time. The short of this story is that during World War II, the Allied bombers learned that the Japanese had a large fleet located there and proceeded to harshly bomb the lagoon. For this, CHOOK Lagoon is also referred to as Japan's Pearl Harbor. On February 17, 1944, the Allied bombers sunk 5 fleet carriers and 4 light carriers, along with support ships and 500 aircraft. The fleet lay near forgotten by the world until the late 1960s, when Japan finally began recovering some 400 bodies to give them proper burials. The wrecks themselves are only around 15 meters or 50 feet below the surface, providing easy access for divers. Naturally, the site has become a popular shallow diving destination, but divers are told to be careful. There's many sharp points and parts on the creepy old wrecks, so be careful what you touch. Number 8. SS Thistlegorm. On October 6, 1941, German aircraft were dispatched from Crete to find and sink possible Allied troop carriers. Though they didn't find any such carriers, they did see the Thistlegorm, which was the largest ship docked in safe anchorage F. They dropped 2 bombs on her and sunk her. 4 sailors and 5 members of the Royal Navy gun crew perished. The SS Thistlegorm wasn't a troop carrier. She was a privately owned merchant navy ship built by Joseph & Son in Sunderland, England in 1940. Though her above-water life was short, she's become one of the top 10 wreck diving sites in the world. Only 100 feet or 30 meters below the surface at the deepest point, she's perfect for trained divers to explore. On nearly every dive, explorers tend to find something new about her, be it something about the ship or cargo frozen in time. But for those with a fear of what lies below in the depths, being able to see the wreck from above would be really scary. Number 7. Christ of the Abyss. The Christ of the Abyss statue depicts Jesus Christ from the Christian Bible, with his arms upwards offering a benediction of peace. There are actually many copies of the 2 meters or 8-foot tall bronze statue cast from the same original mold by Guido Galletti in churches and museums across the world. But there are only 3 that live underwater. The original in the Mediterranean Sea off San Fruttuoso, near where Dario Gonzatti, the first Italian to use scuba gear, died in 1947. In this way, the original statue is dedicated to Gonzatti and to all those who lost and will lose their lives at sea. The second is located on the coastline of St. George's, Grenada, and the third is in Key Largo, Florida, USA. The statues themselves are all quite creepy for those already afraid of deep water. Depending on if the water is clear or not, they seem to just appear slowly through the murk like silhouetted phantoms in a trance. To that mental image, add crustaceans, moss, coral reefs, and other ocean growth, which just furthers the overall eerie way the statues look. Number 6. Yonaguni Monument. In Japanese, this submerged rock formation is called Yonaguni Jima Kaitei Chike, meaning Yonaguni Island submarine topography. This is a massive formation that the scientific community very generally agrees is too specific in look, cut, and size to be naturally formed. Yonaguni is located off the coast of Yonaguni, the southernmost of the Ryukyu Islands in Japan. In 1986, Yonaguni-cho Tourism Association Director Kihachiro Aratake was diving, looking for good shots to observe hammerhead sharks, when he came upon the rock monoliths. They looked too much like ancient archaeological formations to have been caused by plate tectonic shifts or rocks merrily sliding atop each other. The massive set of rocks looks like it features stairs that form a step pyramid, and it also has flat surfaces and pointed edges at right angles far too specific to have been made by nature. As the formation lies only 20 meters or 66 feet downward, it's easy for divers to reach, despite strong currents. Basic scientific consensus is that the ruins are at least 6,000 years old. Coming across such a deliberate, massive set of rocks could be intimidating to say the least. Number 5. MS Zenobia. What a waste! The Zenobia sank in June 1980 on her maiden voyage. There were no casualties, but her cargo of 104 tractor-trailers all sank with her in the Mediterranean Sea. She lays 42 meters or 138 feet down. She was a Swedish-built Challenger-class RO ferry launched in 1979. During her maiden voyage, the captain noticed she was listing to port and discovered the culprit to be excess water being pumped into the ballast tanks. Though he had the tanks emptied, the same issue arose a second time when she arrived at Larnaca, Cyprus. It got so bad that she was ordered to sit around a mile or 1.5 kilometers out from port, lest she become an obstruction for other vessels. Alas, she kept listing until she was at 45 degrees. At that point, the captain and crew basically gave up and left. The 200 million-pound ship sank on June 2, 1980, in the very early morning. These days, she's one of the top 10 diving sites, with 3 difficulty levels for beginner to highly experienced divers. However, like any other sunken, rotting shipwreck, she's absolutely covered in ocean life and growths and looks like a creepy, massive phantom slipping into view from the murky waters as you approach. Not our kind of adventure. Number 4. MSusa Mexico. The full name of this underwater museum is Museo Subacuático de Arte, or the Cancun Underwater Museum. Arguably the largest of its kind on Earth, it holds 115 life-size sculptures designed by various artists. They're all made with marine cement that generates growth of coral reefs. Founded by British underwater naturalist and photographer Jason de Carres Taylor in 2009, the primary purpose of MSusa was to aid in the recovery of the reefs due to human impact and destruction caused by Hurricane Wilma in 2005. The installation features statues of people praying, sitting on cars, bowing, standing in thought, socializing, really, just going about their daily underwater lives amidst a large crowd of like-minded statues. While many divers may find the entire installation fascinating, and even though it serves a wonderful environmental purpose, others may find it simply creepy. Full-size statues, hundreds of them, all acting like they're alive? No thanks. Number 3. San Jose Galleon. The Spanish ship San Jose was a 64-gun, 3-masted galleon of the Spanish Navy, part of the Treasure class of ships. She was built in 1698 with the primary function of transporting gold, jewels, silver, and other precious stones and wares. Always, she was accompanied by a set of Navy vessels for her protection. However, in 1708, Spain was locked in battle with England in the War of the Spanish Succession. Since most Navy vessels were required for war, the San Jose embarked alone. Sadly, she encountered a British squadron near Baru, defended herself in a battle known as Wager's Action, but sunk during the altercation. Her wreck and all the precious cargo aboard are estimated at $14.43 billion as of 2021. However, exploring her isn't possible. Spain and Colombia both claim ownership of her and all she contains. Her exact coordinates are a national Colombian secret. But just thinking about such an ancient ship, eroded and lost to time, spilling with gold and gems, is as freaky as it is fantastic. Number 2. The Locomotive Graveyard. 2 steam locomotives from the 1850s off the coast of New Jersey stand about 27 meters or 90 feet below the water's surface, covered in barnacles and rust. These 2 engines are quite rare, of the Planet Class 222T models. Speculation states that they either encountered a storm while being transported on a barge and fell off, or that they were deliberately pushed off from their transport. Whatever the reason, these models were already outdated as soon as they were built, as they were each 15 tons, and the average steam engine of that period was around 35 tons. Above-ground steam engine graveyards are already frightening enough, with stripped-down skeletons of tanks and pieces everywhere. 2 engines sunken in the murky waters and covered entirely by barnacles is just a bit too much. Number 1. Lake Neuchâtel Shark Statue. This final point has to be the most terrifying and almost most ridiculous one on our list. The Neuchâtel shark statue is a jaw-sized shark statue sitting at the bottom of Lake Neuchâtel in Switzerland. It's perpetually grinning, mouth open, and full of massive sharp teeth. To this day, no one knows when it was placed, by who, why, or really anything else. It's just there, grinning maniacally at any divers who come upon it in the filthy, murky water. One commenter sums up how most people would feel encountering it. Imagine not knowing about it beforehand. I would never enter any body of water ever again. So, how do you like this content? Want to go scuba diving now? Let us know about what you thought, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notifications of new videos. Until next time!